Have you ever struggled to express yourself clearly, searching for the right words as opportunities pass you by, or found yourself trapped in conversations that drain your energy, leaving you feeling unheard and disconnected? In today's world where relationships are invaluable and words carry tremendous weight, mastering communication isn't just helpful, it's essential. Imagine this: a confident individual enters a room and immediately captures attention, not through volume or domination, but through genuine connection. When they speak, people instinctively lean in, eager to hear more. This could be you. You can transform your ability to connect, persuade, inspire, and lead. But here's what most people misunderstand. Effective communication isn't primarily about eloquence or clever arguments. It's about understanding human psychology, establishing trust, and creating authentic impact. What we're exploring today isn't a theoretical lecture about grammar or vocabulary. We're diving into practical, actionable techniques that will elevate every interaction in your life. By the end of this guide, you'll view conversations not as obstacles but as opportunities to seize. Whether you're preparing for a job interview, healing a damaged relationship, or delivering an important presentation, these strategies will become your foundation for success. Be warned, this isn't a quick fix. Mastering communication requires dedication, practice, and the courage to challenge your existing habits. Are you ready to transform how you connect with others? Let's begin with understanding what makes communication truly work and why most people get it completely wrong. Here's a hint: it's less about your words and more about how you make others feel. Chapter 1: Breaking Down the Barriers. Let's start with a fundamental truth. Most people overcomplicate communication. We've been conditioned to believe that being a great communicator means impressing others with sophisticated language. But this couldn't be further from reality. Think about the last time someone genuinely captured your attention. It wasn't their elaborate vocabulary, it was how they made you feel. So why do so many of us struggle with communication? The biggest obstacles are fear and misunderstanding, fear of rejection, fear of saying something inappropriate, fear of judgment. These anxieties create invisible walls that prevent us from expressing our authentic selves. The result? Strained conversations, misconnections, and relationships that never reach their potential. But what if these barriers aren't actually real? What if they're simply mental constructs? Stories we've told ourselves based on past experiences. Just as they were built, they can be dismantled. Here's where most people go wrong. They focus too much on themselves during interactions. How do I sound? Do they like me? Am I being interesting enough? This self-focus creates static, blocking the real signal, connection. Instead, shift your focus outward. Rather than obsessing over your performance, tune into the other person. What are they feeling? What do they need? What's the underlying message behind their words? Try this exercise. During your next conversation, ask yourself, what's their emotional state right now? Are they anxious, excited, distracted? When you start noticing these cues, you'll realize communication isn't primarily about words. It's about energy. Match their energy and you'll create instant rapport. But let's not stop there. In the next section, we'll tackle one of the most overlooked aspects of communication: listening. Spoiler alert, most of us aren't nearly as good at it as we believe. Chapter 2: The Art of Listening. Here's a challenging truth. Most people don't listen to understand, they listen to respond. Consider how often you've caught yourself planning your next statement while someone else is still speaking. It's a common habit that undermines your ability to truly connect. Listening is far more than remaining silent while another person talks. It's an active process, a skill requiring focus and practice. When done effectively, it transforms how others perceive you. Why? Because feeling truly heard fulfills one of our deepest human desires. When you listen intently, you offer people something rare: validation, a gift they won't forget. Here's how to elevate your listening skills. 1. Quiet your inner narrator. That voice in your head constantly analyzing and judging needs to step back. Direct your full attention to the speaker. Notice their tone, body language, and word choice. Often, what remains unsaid carries as much importance as what's expressed. Resist interrupting when you might believe you're helping by jumping in with advice or a related story, but interruptions signal that you value your perspective more than theirs. Instead, allow them to finish completely, even through pauses. Sometimes those silent moments are when genuine emotions surface. 3. Ask thoughtful questions. Effective listeners don't just nod and smile, they engage meaningfully. Ask open-ended questions that encourage deeper exploration. How did that experience affect you, or what happened next? These questions demonstrate your genuine investment in their story. Try this challenge in your next conversation. Commit to listening without offering advice unless specifically requested. It might feel unnatural initially, but you'll be amazed at how much more people share when they feel you're present to understand rather than fix them. 1. Call someone, a friend. When the time is right, ask your friend or fellow employee how they are doing. But what about situations where emotions run high and listening feels impossible? That's where empathy becomes essential. In the next chapter, we'll explore how to cultivate empathy in your interactions and use it to diffuse conflict and build deeper trust. Chapter 3, the power of empathy. Imagine this scenario. You're engaged in a heated disagreement. Tensions are rising, voices are elevating, and resolution seems impossible. Now pause and ask yourself, what would happen if you stopped trying to win and started trying to understand? That's empathy in action, one of communication's most powerful tools. Empathy extends beyond simply imagining yourself in someone else's position. It involves genuinely connecting with what they're feeling. It's the bridge between separate minds, transforming potential conflicts into opportunities for deeper connection. But here's the challenge. Empathy rarely comes naturally during stressful moments. It's a skill requiring deliberate practice. Here's how to incorporate empathy into your conversations. 1. Pause and reflect. When someone says or does something triggering, don't react immediately. Take a deep breath and consider, what might they be experiencing right now? Often, people's frustration has little connection to you and everything to do with their personal struggles. 2. Validate their feelings. You don't need to agree with someone's perspective to acknowledge their emotions. Simple phrases like, that sounds incredibly difficult, or I can understand why you'd feel that way, can immediately reduce tension and help the other person feel heard. 3. Mirror their emotional state. If someone expresses excitement, match their enthusiasm. If they're distressed, respond with calm understanding. This subtle mirroring creates a subconscious bond that communicates, I'm with you. Let's be honest. Empathy can be challenging, especially with people whose views differ significantly from yours. But here's the remarkable thing. The more you practice empathy, the more natural it becomes, and the stronger your relationships grow. Still uncertain about empathy's impact? Consider this example. A respected negotiation expert once shared how empathy salvaged a major business deal. Rather than pushing back against a difficult client, they listened to the client's concerns, acknowledged their frustrations, and responded with genuine understanding. The result wasn't just preserving the agreement. The client became one of their most loyal partners. Empathy doesn't just resolve conflicts, it builds trust, the foundation of all meaningful communication. And trust is where genuine influence begins. In the next chapter, we'll explore how to use trust as the cornerstone for ethical persuasion. You can learn to guide conversations effectively without manipulation or deception. Chapter 4, Building Trust, the Ultimate Influence Tool. Let's talk about trust, the invisible thread connecting every significant conversation, partnership, and relationship. Without it, your words, regardless of how polished, fall flat. But when trust exists, even simple messages carry tremendous weight. So how do you develop it? Contrary to common belief, Trust isn't built through grand gestures. It's created through consistent small actions over time. It's about demonstrating through both words and behavior that you're reliable, honest, and most importantly, authentic. Here's how to cultivate trust in your communication. 1. Practice consistency. Inconsistency destroys trust. When your words and actions don't align, people will question everything you say. Whether you're promising to meet a deadline or simply sharing an opinion, follow through completely. Each fulfilled commitment, no matter how small, strengthens others' trust in you. 2. Take responsibility for mistakes. Let's be realistic, nobody's perfect. When you make a mistake, and you will, acknowledge it directly. Apologize sincerely and focus on making it right. People respect those who admit their errors far more than those who avoid responsibility. 3. Communicate with honesty. It's tempting to soften your message to avoid conflict or gain approval, but people sense insincerity. Be direct, but deliver your message with kindness. Honesty builds respect, and respect fosters trust. 4. Listen without an agenda. Remember our discussion about active listening? When people feel heard without hidden motives, they naturally trust you more. Show genuine curiosity about their thoughts, feelings, and experiences. Consider this real-world example. A young entrepreneur approached potential investors with an innovative concept. His presentation wasn't flashy, nor was he the most articulate speaker. What distinguished him was his transparency. He openly discussed the risks, shared his challenges, and demonstrated his commitment to addressing them. The investors trusted him not because of what he said, but how he said it. They funded his venture, and today, his company is widely recognized. Trust isn't just about winning people over. It's about creating lasting influence. When people trust you, they're naturally more receptive to your ideas. In the next chapter, we'll explore the art of persuasion, how to guide conversations and inspire action while maintaining authenticity. This is where your communication skills truly become transformative. Chapter 5, Guiding Conversations and Inspiring Action. Effective communication isn't just about exchanging information, it's about creating meaningful impact. When you master the art of persuasion, your words become more than sounds. They become catalysts for positive change. But here's what most people misunderstand. Persuasion isn't about manipulation or clever tactics. It's about guiding people toward a shared vision, one they feel personally connected to. The first step is recognizing that people are primarily driven by emotions, not logic. Even our most rational decisions are anchored in how something makes us feel. Think about your last significant decision, whether purchasing a product, choosing a career path, or agreeing to someone's proposal. Emotions likely influenced you more than you realized. To inspire action, begin by connecting with these emotions. Paint a vivid picture of possibilities, one that resonates and compels. Speak to people's aspirations, concerns, and hopes. Help them see how your proposal aligns with what they truly value. The more personal and relatable your message, the more powerful its impact. Building momentum in conversation is crucial. Start by establishing common ground. People are more likely to trust and follow someone who shares their values or understands their perspective. Once that foundation exists, use stories, examples, and analogies to reinforce your point. A well-crafted narrative can dissolve doubt and skepticism more effectively than raw data ever could. Clarity is equally important. If your message becomes convoluted or overly complex, you risk losing your audience. Simplify your ideas without underestimating people's intelligence. Speak with confidence and conviction while leaving space for questions and input. Engagement creates ownership, and people are more likely to act on ideas they feel part of. Timing is everything. Don't rush toward closure or push for decisions prematurely. Allow your message time to resonate, giving others space to process. Simultaneously recognize the right moment to request commitment when someone is emotionally and intellectually aligned with your vision. In one memorable negotiation, a skilled mediator united opposing parties not by overwhelming them with logic, but by appealing to their shared values. By highlighting what both sides stood to lose, something they deeply valued, the mediator created urgency and mutual understanding. The result? A resolution that seemed impossible just hours before. As we continue, we'll explore communication strategies for high-stakes situations, delivering difficult news, addressing conflict, or influencing critical decisions. You'll need approaches that combine diplomacy with impact. Chapter 6. Mastering High-Stakes Conversations. When emotions intensify and pressure mounts, communication becomes a delicate balancing act. One misstep risks alienating your audience or escalating tensions, but when handled skillfully, these challenging moments can transform into opportunities for growth, understanding, and stronger connections. High-stakes conversations require preparation, patience, and precision. The first essential element is maintaining composure, regardless of how intense the situation becomes. This is easier said than done, especially when confronted with another person's heightened emotions. But your calm presence serves as an anchor. Take a deep breath, slow your responses, and remember that your role is to guide rather than react. Clarity becomes your greatest asset in these situations. When stakes are high, confusion can be damaging. Be direct, but considerate. Don't avoid the issue or soften your message to the point where your meaning is lost. Simultaneously, choose your words carefully, avoiding phrases that might sound dismissive or accusatory. Another critical component is emotional intelligence, the ability to read the room, sensing not just what's being said, but the emotions behind the words. Pay attention to body language, vocal tone, and even silence. These signals provide insights into the other person's mindset, helping you adjust your approach in real time. One powerful technique for navigating difficult conversations is reframing. Instead of dwelling on problems, steer the discussion towards solutions. For example, if someone expresses frustration about a mistake, acknowledge their feelings but shift focus to how the issue can be resolved or prevented in the future. This approach not only diffuses tension, but demonstrates that you're proactive and invested in finding common ground. Creating space for others to express themselves is essential. High-stakes conversations often involve intense emotions, and people need to feel heard before engaging in meaningful dialogue. Resist the urge to interrupt or immediately defend yourself. Allow them to share their perspective and validate their feelings, without necessarily agreeing with their viewpoint. Consider this workplace example. A team leader once diffused a heated conflict among colleagues by acting as a neutral mediator. Rather than taking sides, they asked each person to explain their concerns without interruption. By reframing the discussion as a shared challenge to solve together, the leader transformed a potentially explosive situation into a collaborative breakthrough. As we approach our final chapters, we'll explore maintaining and evolving these communication skills for long-term impact. You've made significant progress, but there's still more to discover. Chapter 7. Maintaining and evolving your communication mastery. The foundation has been established. You've learned to break barriers, listen effectively, build trust, persuade with integrity, and navigate challenging conversations. But now comes the real challenge: maintaining and developing these communication skills to sustain strong connections and expand your influence. Communication, like any valuable skill, isn't something you master once and forget. It's an ongoing process requiring reflection, practice, and adaptability. The key to long-term communication success is consistent self-awareness. Regularly evaluate your approach. How are you showing up in conversations? Are you practicing active listening or reverting to old habits of interrupting and controlling the dialogue? One effective way to gauge your progress is requesting feedback from those around you. This may feel uncomfortable, but it's among the most valuable ways to grow. Ask trusted friends, family members, or colleagues how they experience communication with you. Do they feel heard, respected, Is your message clear? Their insights will prove invaluable as you refine your approach. Challenge yourself by engaging in conversations that expand your comfort zone. Seek opportunities to connect with people who have different perspectives, experiences, and communication styles. This not only broadens your range, but forces you to adapt and develop. The more diverse your interactions, the more you'll understand communication's nuances and how to navigate them effectively. A skilled communicator doesn't just respond to the present, they anticipate the future. The communication landscape continuously evolves, influenced by technology, culture, and social shifts. Stay curious and open to new connection methods and tools. Whether mastering digital communication platforms or exploring the latest psychological insights into human behavior. One of the most significant shifts in contemporary communication is the growing importance of emotional intelligence. Like the skills of a muscle that continually, as technology advances, the human element, empathy, emotional awareness, and authentic connection becomes increasingly valuable. In our fast-paced, often disconnected world, those who can genuinely engage with others stand apart. Remember, you're not simply learning techniques. You're cultivating a mindset that prioritizes understanding, connection, and mutual growth. When you approach communication with this perspective, it becomes less about perfect words and more about mastering human interaction. In closing, consider this. Communication is more than a skill. It's a way of life. It's the thread connecting us all and the key to creating the relationships, opportunities, and success you desire. The more you invest in it, the more you'll witness its power unfold in unexpected ways. Practice these tools, continue evolving, and remember, the most effective communicators aren't those who speak most, they're those who listen, connect, and inspire others to act. That is communication's true power. Chapter 8, Mastering Digital Communication. As we move deeper into the digital era, communication has transformed in ways unimaginable just decades ago. While face-to-face interactions remain invaluable, digital communication has become the backbone of how we connect, collaborate, and influence in today's world. The challenge? Digital communication demands a different skill set. In a landscape of texts, emails, social media, and video calls, our expression methods have fundamentally changed. The first challenge is conveying tone. In person, nonverbal cues, body language, facial expressions, and eye contact help communicate emotion. But in text-based exchanges, this crucial context disappears. A simple sentence might be interpreted numerous ways depending on how it's read. How do you ensure your messages are received as intended in this digital environment? Start by considering how your words might be perceived without vocal tone or facial expressions. Err on the side of clarity and positivity. Instead of writing, "That's not what I meant," rephrase to prevent misunderstandings from the outset. Phrases like "to clarify" or "I want to make sure I'm being clear" can prevent confusion. Next, focus on conciseness and impact. Attention spans have shortened, particularly in digital spaces where people encounter constant information. If you want your message to stand out, make it clear, concise, and purposeful. Whether composing a text message, email, or social media post, ask yourself, what's my core message? How can I communicate it efficiently without losing its essence? The rules change for video communication as well. Video calls, webinars, and virtual meetings have surged in popularity, bringing new challenges. The key to excelling in virtual conversations is presence. Even behind a screen, people connect with you as a person. Be mindful of your body language. Sit upright, maintain eye contact with the camera, and minimize distractions. A clear, strong voice is essential for maintaining attention in virtual settings, and your energy should remain as engaging as if you were physically present. Timing deserves special consideration. Digital communication's asynchronous nature means messages may remain unanswered for hours or days. To maintain effective dialogue, aim for timely responses without appearing rushed. While awaiting replies, stay engaged. Don't let conversations stagnate. For emails or messages, follow up courteously without seeming pushy. Finally, emotional intelligence remains crucial in digital spaces. Without face to face cues, it's easy to overlook how others might be feeling. With effort, however, you can still detect emotional undertones. Look for signs of frustration or enthusiasm in writing style and adjust your response accordingly. Acknowledge emotions and validate concerns to demonstrate empathy. Even without physical presence, digital communication is here to stay, and mastering it is essential for success in today's interconnected world. When handled effectively, it can be equally powerful, sometimes more so, than face to face conversations. In our next chapter, we'll explore using your communication skills to influence larger groups. Whether through public speaking or group discussions, the stakes are about to increase.